Hi, in this video we will be working with wonton wrappers, making small wontons that we're going to fry, or you could actually steam them too. For this one we'll be working with wild mushrooms, scallions, ginger, fresh onion. So most of the things here are already prepped. I want to show you how I work with fresh ginger. You can use a spoon and just scrape the skin off. That's less waste on the ginger itself. And then the second thing to remember, if you're familiar with ginger at all, the way it grows, if I can show you, it's strings that go a certain direction. And what you want to do when you want to chop it is the first thing is cut really, really small slices across the grain or across the threads. The threads are going this way. So what I'm going to do is nice and thin this way is most important. It breaks up those strands, and then from there it's okay, just to chop it on the board and just keep turning it around and chopping it. So once you get those strands broken up, then it's a lot more edible that way. Just keep turning them. And ginger doesn't have to be that small. It's got a great flavor, and to bite into it, even a big chunk of it just gives you a nice burst of flavor. Okay. Just take that, put it in here. And that's all we need for the filling. We're going to go next to the stove here, put together a filling, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to make wontons in different shapes and forms. Okay, so we're going to make the filling for the wild mushroom wontons. We're going to start with some butter and melt that down. Okay, this one we want to work on probably medium heat, something like that. When you're cooking pretty much anything on the stove, whether it's a soup, a filling for something, you want to make sure you cook each different level completely. You want to cook the onions and the ginger. Not just to cook them, but what you're doing is releasing any water that's in them, and it's just leaving the true flavor of the vegetable. So we're going to cook this down. And you really notice when you're cooking the mushrooms have a lot of moisture in them. And you want to make sure you put them in, they'll brown up a little bit. Then you'll notice that it's going to get a lot more liquid in the pan. And that's where you make sure you continue to cook to make sure that you get all that moisture out of the mushrooms, and the concentrated flavor of the mushrooms is what you're left with. Okay, once the ginger and the onions are cooked, we're going to add the mushrooms. So they're nice and dry right now. As they start to cook, you'll see that the moisture will come out of them. They'll get a little wet in the pan, and then we want to wait to get past that. A little seasoning. As we start to see a little more moisture in the pan, you can see it. And that's just the natural water coming out of the mushroom. Once that's gone, the flavor of the mushroom is just going to come through. And for this recipe, we use wine, and it's very, very important that when you're using wine is to cook it all the way down so it's gone again. If we started working with this now, putting the cream cheese in, you'll never really get that raw wine flavor, whether it's a white wine, a red wine, or we're using Madeira for this. It's important to cook that down, not dry, but almost dry. And again, it just has a much better flavor. I think that a wine that you just put in and don't cook it down has kind of a vinegary flavor to it. Okay, so once that's almost dry, you can add cream cheese and your scallions. Now at this point, everything's pretty much cooked, so you can turn it off. And that cream cheese is just going to melt right in there. Mix it up really nice. What the cream cheese does is just a binder, which kind of keeps everything together in the wonton. Okay, then we have a nice filling. We will put this in a pan in the refrigerator and let it cool. And once it's cold, then we can start wrapping our wontons. Okay, so we have our filling, the mushroom filling with the cream cheese, chives. It's all chilled right here in the bowl. So what we will do now, there's different shapes, different sizes. If we had a lot of filling, we could make big egg rolls. We're using the smaller wrappers. One thing that I like to do is put a little bit of cornstarch where you're going to be laying them. It keeps them from getting soggy. And also a little bit of cornstarch and water. We'll use this just to kind of seal them. Okay. So there's a few different styles you can make. You can make a very, very simple one. And all that is a little bit of the filling. Like so. The cornstarch mixture on the two edges that are going to be sealed. And then try and keep the air out. And just seal them just like that. And that's just a simple, easy wonton. That's one way to do it. You can do the same thing. A little bit of filling in the middle. Okay, the cornstarch mixture goes on the edges where you're going to seal it up. Like so. And then what you do is you take it, put a little more of the cornstarch mixture on one of the tips here, and then just fold it over and pinch it right there, more like a rangoon. Okay? There's a couple ways you can do it with the square wonton. Now, you can also buy small round ones, and I'll just make a couple for you so you can see. If you do find the round ones in the store. Okay. Okay, a little bit of the filling inside. So. And again, seal it with the cornstarch and water mixture. Okay, and then from here we're going to make kind of like a purse. what you do is you want to wet your fingers a little bit, and we're going to just fold it and pinch it, just like so. Fold it and pinch it. And if you do it on you can kind of curve the wonton as you're doing it, but just a fold and a pinch, and seal it up like that. That's more of like a purse. I'll do one more just like that. Okay, so we're just folding it over and pushing it or pinching it together. Get it started, put it on the board, fold and pinch. That's like a little purse. So those are the two different ways you can do them, with a round or the square. I'll just make a few more. Once I get done, we'll bring them over and I'll show you how to fry them up. Now this is an item here, the wontons, that you can make these, you know, a week before a party. Make them, put them in the freezer, and then you can actually fry them from the frozen state. So it's a great thing if you're having a party of, you know, a lot of people coming over and you don't want to have to be slaving in the kitchen all day. Go ahead and make these, freeze them, and like I said, fry them right from the frozen state, and then you can just finish them in the oven to keep them warm. And one thing to remember, the filling is completely cooked on this, so we're just looking for the filling to be warm. You don't have to worry about cooking anything in there like there was raw shrimp or something. So do a couple more. Okay. Okay, so we pinch it, seal it off, and then fold it and pinch it. One more. I like to curve them a little bit just like that. So there you go. So from here, if you were going to freeze them, we would take this, maybe coat them a little bit more in the cornstarch, let them freeze maybe on a tray. Once they're frozen and solid, then you can take them out, put them in a bag, and just do a Ziploc baggie, put them back in the freezer, and they're ready to go. They'll be easy to come out. They won't be stuck together. Throw them in the fry later, get them nice and brown, finish them in the oven. So I'm going to head over to the stove. We will fry these, and then we'll display them for your guests to see. Okay, so in order to fry them, we want the temperature on the oil to be about 325 degrees. If you have a thermometer, that's great. If not, one way to check is just to hold one of the wontons in there for a couple seconds. You'll start to see bubbling. Then you know you have the right temperature. If you put it in there, it really starts to bubble. You want to turn it down a little bit. So all we're really looking to do, like I said, the filling is already cooked. So all we're trying to do is just give them a nice brown color. Some of these big ones here, what we want to do, once they're halfway done, we're going to flip them over. Make sure both sides get done. If you have a home fryer, like I said, 325, 350, right around there, if it has a thermometer on it, that's a perfect temperature to cook these at. We're cooking in canola oil. You don't need a peanut oil just because it's an Asian dish. I'm just going to move around a little bit, get a nice brown color. And then I have a drying cloth here, paper towel, put them on there to absorb any extra moisture and oil. Now the wonton wrapper tends to be a little thicker than, say, an egg roll wrapper. If you wanted to steam in an egg roll wrapper, it might be a little bit better. It's a little bit thinner and better for steaming. This seems to work out best for frying. Okay. See, nice brown color on this one. We'll pull that one out. And just remember, if you were going to freeze these ahead of time, make them a week before, they'll get nice brown color, but they will not be cooked inside. That's why you need to really put them in the oven at about 250, 300, just to make sure you get the inside nice and warm. That's it. Nice brown color. We can bring these back and display them and serve them. Okay, so we have our wontons all fried, nice and warm inside. So we will put them, I have a different dish on this one. Give it a little different look to it. Just kind of display them a little bit, not in piles, but just, you know, randomly out there. And then fill a cup with some soy sauce. If you like sesame oil, a little sesame oil in here would be good too. And just for a little bit of look, a little bit of flavor, more for the look, it's just some julienne of ginger, just to float in the cup there. And then last, nice fresh scallion. This one I like to cut a little bit longer on the bias. Just has a nice look with that cut like that. And just sprinkle those on top. Nice easy hors d'oeuvre. Fresh mushrooms, crispy, great flavor. And there you have it. Thank you for joining me for our wonton video, and I hope you enjoy.